You're watching The Sports Objective, the podcast for Pirates.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it's Wednesday night at 8 o'clock, and you know what that means on the Sports Objective Podcasting Network. It's time for just another sports podcast with me, your host, Kyle from LaGrange Barber. And alongside me is my co-host, as always, the one and only head coach of Northeast Academy in Lasker, North Carolina, Mr. Stevie Fly. Welcome into the show.
You feeling okay? You didn't say I was from Virginia.
I'll get it in for the show's over.
That's all right. That's all right.
From Danville, Virginia, Stevie Fly.
Danville. Good Lord.
What's I've up, seen buddy? Some of the ugliest people in my life in the Walmart in Danville, Virginia.
Well, guess what? We just lost all our listeners from Danville after we lost our chance of getting a sponsorship from Parker's last week. We lost all listeners in Danville, Virginia.
You know, Danville's a growing area, too, with the casinos coming to town.
So you just ruined it, dude.
Yeah, I know. We've got potential casino sponsorship. All right, let's get into brass tacks. We got the one of the greatest punters, arguably the greatest punter in East Carolina history, and the color analyst from the East Carolina Sports Network, or whatever they call it these days, Mr. Andrew Bays. Andrew, welcome into the show.
Kyle, thank you. Stevie, good to talk to you. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Thank you, bud. Thank you.
Yeah, we typically our normal standard on this show, Andrew. We typically have a former player on, and we'll break down their career, 30, 40 minutes, but we're not going to do that tonight with you. You do not have time for that. What we are going to do is utilize your skills as the color analyst for the broadcasting network, and we're going to jump right into previewing the Charlotte 49er football game this week and touch a little bit on what you think of the season so far. Obviously, defense has played well. Offense has struggled. Yeah. Special teams have been kind of middle of the road to good. I would say middle of the road to good. But offense is a big struggle. What are your thoughts on the season so far?
Yeah, I think everyone's opinion is pretty much, around the fact that the offense has just been, pretty much abysmal. And as a former player, it's hard to watch. It typically offense. The offense here in Greenville has been something that the fans have really showed up for and be able to enjoy and have a lot of fun with. And it's quite a dilemma this year, as a fan or as a former player to, turn the games on and just see it just seems that the offense is just lost. That's the only word I can describe, as I watch the offense. Is it, I know a lot of people like to say, try to find identity and, a cliche word like that. But truly, I just, I think the quarterback situation, however it happened, I think the quarterback situation really surprised this coaching staff and hit them square in the jaw in week one. And the offense has been lost ever since. And, there's been some glimmers of hope. Just from playmaking ability from a couple players here and there. But, as a unit, it's really difficult to look at it and see progress. I know that the coaching staff, they're going to preach that there's, continuous progress week over week. And, behind the scenes, those are things that we can't see. Obviously, they see it in the meeting rooms and film study and, on the practice field. I try to get out there once a week to get my eyes on these guys and, just show my support as a former player. It's just, I think offensively it's been difficult. Defensively, whether they, you look at the national numbers and they are what they are. I mean, the Pirate defense and total defense is 32nd in the nation. They're 23rd in the nation in rush defense. So, all things being said, and I know the Gardner-Webb game can skew some numbers, but, look, every top team has a Gardner-Webb on their schedule. So all the numbers are skewed. So defensively, I know they've been doing great. And I think all things considered if the offense has been just a notch above where they're at now.
Oh, you beat me to it.
Yeah, there'd be some wins in the column. And,
I came up with the analogy of if we just average 24 points per game, a very average, mediocre, not even good offense. I mean, 24 points a game is nothing in this day and age of college football. If we average 24 points a game, we'd be 4-2 or 3-3 at worst.
Right.
So I mean, it's insanity how bad we are on offense, averaging just under 12 points per game. When you look ahead, particularly for this Saturday, who do you think is going to start a quarterback? Flynn has seen the majority of the reps the last few weeks. Garcia looked better against SMU than he has in the past. I honestly thought he looked better than Flynn as a whole. I kind of think, and I could be wrong, I kind of think Flynn we saw his ceiling against Rice. I think Flynn kind of is what he is. I think Garcia still has some upside, but he's got to improve in a hurry.
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of stuck to my guns on the way that, at least my opinion on the matter. I know why they turned to Flynn, and in an effort to still go after a conference championship and win some games. Early in the season, Flynn definitely gave him that opportunity to pursue those metrics. However, I always thought that they'd have to circle back to Garcia at some point and just let him ride it out. And they for a couple reasons. One, for his development, it's just going to have to be a growing pains type thing, whether good, bad, ugly, whatever it is, we're going to have to stick with it. But give him an opportunity. And if Garcia just is not up to the task a couple more games down the road, then I think you probably have to flip it to Jeter and see what you have in that young kid. So I think Garcia gets the run. I don't know who he's going to start ultimately, if he's going to start Flynn and have a game plan that maybe in the third series like he did against SMU. But I assume Garcia gets a lot of scratch in the next few games. And, hopefully he's able to kind of work through and continue to show a little bit of progress here and there to give the coaches some confidence that he's the guy moving forward. And if he's not, I think that Jeter probably gets, even though I've from what I understand and reports I've my conversations is that Jeter might not be completely ready for that. But I mean, heck, in today's world with transfers and transfer portal, and you've got to be able to embrace the player, and you've got to develop them, because they're if they're not going to play here, they're going to play somewhere else. So I think it's Garcia's job at this point. I could be wrong.
Jason Nichols, on the fifth quarter over on Up Our Radio post game last Thursday, said that going forward, he thinks he would start Garcia and go ahead and move Raheem Jeter up to the number 2 spot and start getting him the second most reps on the team to get him, in case we have to do what you're talking about. Do you think that they'll go ahead and start doing that, move Jeter up and move Flynn down to third string?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, I don't know what this coaching staff thinks. And they could completely think differently than I think, but the redshirt years, I mean,
the portal, be damned. Yeah, exactly.
You try to preserve, you try to preserve this kid's redshirt year.
I disagree with you, Andrew. With this day and age of the portal,
go
ahead.
No, what I'm saying is what I was saying as far as the coaching staff, maybe they believe that they try to preserve his red shirt, but in today's day, you just can't do it. And, I think Mason Garcia is a good, relevant example of, they sat on him for years thinking that he was going to be the future of this program. And that hit him square in the face week one of, well, heck, we missed something here as far as development, coaching, whatever it might be. And or talent. So I think, you get an earlier start. than typically you would, especially with Jeter. And, like I said, hopefully Mason turns it around and you start to see some signs that he's going to be okay for the future. But if not, I think you absolutely, to agree with Jason, you absolutely have to take Jeter for a spin.
No, I agree with you 100%. And then, we'll get into the offseason when we need to, but you got to figure we're going to go into the portal for a quarterback. We look ahead to Charlotte this week. You'd like to think this is a get-right game, but it really ain't. Charlotte's defense is really good. Very similar. Good. I mean, really, like, staggeringly similar. We got very good we have good defense. They have good defense, and we're both horrendous on offense. We're averaging just under 12 points per game, at least against FBS opponents. Charlotte is averaging around 15 points per game. Charlotte's, I don't know what our third down efficiency is. Either one of you guys do. Charlotte's is 23%, which is freaking horrendous. And they average 303 yards per game. This may be a 6-3 thriller, Andrew.
Yeah, we're running about 33% on third down for the season.
All right, we're better than them by 10%. Woohoo!
Compared to we're almost a 50% conversion team last year on third down. Now against SMU, we were 25%. We were 5 for 20. So
that's uncanny to me that we were 5 for 20 on third down, because we dominated time of possession in that game, at least for 3 quarters. So that really says a lot to how well our defense played, how many 3-and-outs they got.
Well, I think, I started picking up on some of the time of possession situation that's going on with our offense during the Rice game. During a broadcast, there's some things that I keep an eye on. That's one of them. And, this offense, I think, because, they've been so woeful, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out, that they're going to run the ball on first down probably 9 times out of 10, and that's going to begin to eat the clock. And a lot of times they follow that up with a second down rush. So they're killing clock probably strategically to stretch, try to wrap the game up, to try to limit possessions on the other side of the ball. And when they're completing passes, they're completing 3-yard passes and short routes that keep the clock moving. So it is something that we're seeing as far as 3-and-outs, yes, but I think the way that they're attacking the clock to try to stretch, try to limit the opponent from being on the field, I think that's part of the offensive strategy. While they struggle, they're going to burn some clock.
You talk about our offensive struggles, and one of the things we have really liked is explosion plays. Charlotte's defense is good, but they have shown the I don't know if ability is the right word, the opposite thereof of ability. Charlotte has been susceptible, that's the word I'm looking for, to explosion plays in the back end. Their front seven is really good. Their secondary, it may be questionable. We have not shown the ability to hit a deep ball, get much yards after catch. Do you think, what are we going to have to do for our O-line to hold up against Charlotte's D-line and try to be able to hit some of those big plays in the passing game that we haven't been able to hit so far? That's how most people have scored on Charlotte.
Yeah, it's I don't think, last year it seemed like Holton, maybe it was just a timing thing with CJ and Isaiah and some of those guys, timing routes were a lot better, and especially over the middle. And we don't see a lot of quick hitting inside quick slants with this offense that we have in the past. And it could start there. I know we don't see, it's ironic, we see Brock Spalding come out, in red zone and goal line situations. I know that they think a lot of his hands and his ability to possess the ball. I'd like to see him more in field offense, not just red zone and goal line and that kind of thing. If he's a possession type receiver, they need to get the ball out quickly. And Sowell has come on, the last few games, has shown a lot of promise. Move his big body on the inside, and maybe use Josiah on the outfield as a stretch guy. And I know we haven't gotten enough opportunities to Josiah. I know Jalen has had his opportunities with drops. Unfortunately, he's battling through this year, but somehow they've got to start working the inside of the field. And I know those are timing routes, and I know those are a bit more complicated, especially with quarterbacks that are struggling. But it's been a big part of this offense for a long time, and it's definitely a big piece that's missing. So, to answer your question, I like to see more quick hitting strikes over the middle of the field. They've utilized Calhoun a little bit, in those types of scenarios, but not nearly enough, in my opinion.
You mentioned Calhoun. We get Savage back this week, according to Coach. Do you think that'll, Calhoun, that should not limit in a bad way, but limit in a good way, the amount of snaps that Calhoun has to take?
I'm sorry, you were breaking up to me in the first part of that question.
Savage, Coach says Savage will be back this week.
Yeah.
So that should limit Calhoun snaps in a positive way, where maybe, hopefully he can be more effective. I know we keep him in a block a lot because the O-line struggles, but do you think having Savage back will help Calhoun in the passing game is what I'm trying to get to?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Calhoun's been working like a dog this first part of the year. So I would think so. Unfortunately, Javius Bond, I know Coach said that's a day-to-day type thing. But if he's out a game, that's a big miss. Obviously, we saw what happens when he's out. He was out against SMU with that unfortunate early injury.
Do you have any intel on besides what Coach said about day-to-day?
No. I mean, one thing I've learned about this coaching staff, they don't like talking about injuries, and they keep it very close to the vest. So any information I wouldn't trust that's out there anyway.
Gotcha.
So if he's saying it's day to day, he must have a pretty good feeling that he truly is. So I don't think he'd downplay that type of injury or even talk about an injury, because he doesn't like talking about injuries. So hopefully he's back in the mix this week, which would be great for this offense. They obviously need to continue to get him involved. The rushing attack has been limited, and there's a lot of things that factor into that as well. So it's not just offensive line play, but quarterback play can also factor into that. Just when your offense is predictable, it's just so much easier for the defense to attack on it and prey on it.
We got Gunn back against SMU. Hopefully he'll be, if we don't have Bond back, hopefully Gunn will, show some more progress this week. And the kid Gerald Green from Georgia Southern, I think he's back healthy, I believe. And particularly, what interests me about Gerald Green, we saw a little speed option with Garcia against SMU. And Gerald Green's got a lot of option background playing at Georgia Southern. So that could be interesting. Hopefully he'll be back this week. Yeah,
I mean, I love watching Garcia play in an option style.
Yes.
Offense. I mean, it's funny when you watch him play, he lights up in those scenarios.
Yep.
It's like he enjoys it. And so I know it's very difficult for offensive coaches to change on the fly as far as offenses go, as a season goes. Kind of, you've got your offensive schemes and your ideas of what you want to do, and you only have so much time during the week to work with these kids. So it's really hard to make changes to your offense. But clearly Garcia is way more comfortable in a rushing style approach.
Yeah, I've been watching a lot of Jacksonville State. Rich Rodriguez is their head coach. They've been playing a lot of midweek games in the new Conference USA, and I just, I think about Garcia in that offense. What a perfect fit that would be. Not suggesting he enters the portal, but if he does, that would be somewhere I'd be looking at.
Yeah.
Andrew, anything else you want to add? Homecoming this weekend, obviously. Hopefully the fans come out. It's going to be great weather, low 60s, sunny Saturday, 2:00 kickoff. Obviously, we're 1-5. They're 1-5. In-state rival, first game against Charlotte. I want this game bad. Not only do we need a win, I can't stand the idea of losing to Charlotte. To me, this is as must win as it gets.
Yeah, if there ever was one. Yeah, they gotta get the W here. I know UNC Charlotte, they're making headways as a program. You know, they've raised some good money for that program.
Yeah, state legislation helped them out somehow.
Oh yeah, and they're doing some good things. So, you know, they're going to come in here with, you know, a big initiative to try to you know, they see ECU as maybe an opportunity to stamp their North Carolina brand, you know, with a big win against ECU. So they've got a lot to play for, and so do the Pirates. And so, to be out quite honestly, so does this coaching staff.
Yep.
You know, they've it's been a tough season for them, and they can't afford a loss to UNC Charlotte. So
no, I think the narrative changes drastically, and I'm not asking you to comment on this, but I think the narrative changes drastically from fire Donnie to probably fire Houston if we lose to Charlotte.
Yeah, and you know, it's going to be tough all the way around, and it's a scenario that you hope to
avoid.
Not have to worry about if everyone does what they need to do to come out Saturday with a W. You know, it's going to be fun to watch. You know, I hope the crowds come out.
I'm excited. I hope I know it's people when we lose stuff to be excited, but get fired up, embrace it, man. It's hard to look at Charlotte as a rival, but I can't stand. Look, Pirate Nation, think about it this way: Charlotte got where they are because of media market. They're in the American. Everything we had to scratch and claw for, Charlotte has just been given. They haven't earned anything, and so embrace the hate and get in there and be loud. And you know what? Call it a rivalry. Don't call it a rivalry. I can't stand them, so I guess it is a rivalry. Let's go beat Charlotte.
That's right. Yeah. No, it's. I hope the fans turn up. I know it's been a difficult season, but one thing that Pirate fans have proven year over year is they have a pretty short memory. You know, a win cures a lot of things, and so if they can come out with a win this week, it'll somewhat change the narrative of this season going into, you know, what's the next week? Who they play?
UTSA.
UTSA. Yep. So, and that's going to be a tough game too. So,
yeah, Frank Harris is back, unfortunately.
There you go. So, you know, positive things this week. Hope these quarterbacks come out and, you know, start hitting on some consistency and, you know, show their ability. I mean, when I go out and practice, you know, I see these guys, man. The talent is there. As far as in the quarterback room, they've just got to apply it on game days.
Yep.
Let me ask both of you this before I know Andrew's got to go. Would it be better now to just stick with one quarterback instead of the two quarterback system now? I mean, because obviously the two quarterback system isn't working, but get one of them in a rhythm, like Garcia, get him in a rhythm and leave him in there the whole game.
I think if you can, Stevie, unless he just comes out and is a turnover machine,
right,
or is not moving the ball at all, yeah, I think we need to. I think we probably, in hindsight's 2020, and I think Andrew, you kind of alluded to this almost. You understood why they played Flynn, but I think we would be a lot further along if we'd have just stuck with Garcia the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, games get to a point where you've got, you know, sometimes you've got to make a change, but you know, at this point in the season where they're at, I think we can accept maybe that we're not fighting for a conference championship. And, you know, we this needs to be, it's already a rebuilding year. They're not going to want to say that, but it already is that. And you got two young quarterbacks. You got to figure out what you got. And Garcia needs the playing time. You know, if you're being truthful and honest with yourself, you've never really given him the full go. And at this point in the game, you give him the full go and you let him, you know, he's your ride or die at this point. And unless he throws 4 picks, you know, over a handful of series, you know, you're just gonna run with him unless he gives you a reason to take him out. So,
Andrew, I will have you one more follow up to that, and then we'll let you go. Being this is Charlotte, and everybody kind of agrees it is a must win. Would you be surprised if they did go with Flynn because they maybe think he gives them the better chance to win this particular ball game?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be surprised.
Okay.
I would. I mean,
Okay.
to me, it seems like an obvious time to play Garcia.
Okay.
With the fact that they're playing Charlotte, it could be a game that really boosts Garcia's confidence if they can get off to the right foot early in this game. It could be something that maybe is a catalyst to him coming out of his shell. So you give him a platform to succeed, and what better team? If it's not Gardner Webb, then it's going to be UNC Charlotte.
Yep.
So.
All right, Andrew. Stevie, you got anything else?
Yeah, that'll do it, bud.
Andrew,
All right,
thank
fellas.
you very much for your time.
Appreciate it.
I appreciate it, guys. Go Pirates. Thanks for having me on.
No problem.
See you, boys.
And thank you. Andrew Bays from the Pirate Sports Radio Network. I don't even know if that's what it's called these days. Stevie, they changed the name 150 times. So, we went through different owners with different, IMG and then ISP, and now we're with I can't even think of the name of the company. It's Bubba. If you're back there, pop it up on the screen. The name of the company that we're with now, Playfly. That's it, Playfly.
Playfly.
Yep. So Stevie, obviously Charlotte this Saturday. We just discussed it at nauseum with Andrew. It's a must-win situation. I really, now I'll say it more blatantly now that Andrew's gone. He works for the network, so I didn't want to get into it. I really believe, if we lose this game and we're staring 1-11 in the face, and I think the narrative changes. I think most fans are fire Donnie. It's time for Donnie to retire. I think you lose to Charlotte, that narrative starts to change to, despite the success the last two seasons, it's going to be you're gonna have a lot of fire Mike Houston talks if we don't win this one.
I heard from more Pirate fans this past week than I usually do, and the majority of them, were saying we lose this game. The seat is warm. The seat gets really hot if you lose for Mike Houston if you lose this game this week because like you said, we're staring 1-11. Who is left on that schedule that is somebody we can beat? I mean, none of these games are going to be easy games after this. There's no Gardner Webb sitting here. And if we don't play better than what we have been, it's going to be a 1-11 season if we don't beat Charlotte.
No, I mean, you don't know. You could lose to Charlotte, and then, you got Navy further down the line, which has struggled offensively. Tulsa, for senior day. So who knows? But even so, look, the first time playing Charlotte, we're 1-5. They're coming to our house. It's homecoming. This is not a game we need to lose. I mean, all of a sudden, and then you're the worst football program in North Carolina, and you can't even beat. Charlotte's better than you. This is not a situation we need to put ourselves in.
I'll tell you like this: there's been teams in my coaching career that usually they're not good. Every year they're not good. And for some reason, they always penciled us in as an easy win. And, but they looked at it like it was their state championship game every year because they knew they weren't going to make it that far. But Charlotte is looking at this like, okay, this is a start. We got nothing to lose. Just like ECU has nothing to lose. But Charlotte's going to come in here. We're underdogs.
Yeah.
And we're going to come in here at your place, and we're going to beat you guys. I mean, they've got that attitude. We have nothing to lose.
The one thing I will say about this that it's an in-state game, but one thing I will say about this, Biff Poggi doesn't know much about this state, and being even he's from just up the road, the Maryland D.C. area, as where he coaches high school ball, and a ton of his players are from that Maryland, D.C. area that transferred into Charlotte. There's not a lot of players from North Carolina on that football team. So I think they'll be fired up for it because they understand that their fan base wants to win this game.
Right.
But I think under normal circumstances, if we were good this year, we were 3-4-2, 3-3, something like that. I would be worried to death about Charlotte coming in here and this being their Super Bowl. This better be our Super Bowl too. We better.
Yeah, definitely.
We better come out and show some pride and protect our stadium. And I'm hoping the players are embracing it. Embrace the hate. I hate Charlotte. Embrace the hate. Let's get the W. To me, it's not a time to talk about is it a rivalry. I've seen a lot of people, praising Biff Poggi for some of his comments he made post game after Navy. He took all the blame, and then he made some positive comments, I guess, in his press conference about us. But I also thought he took some shots. He talked about how we're busting over there because you really can't fly into Greenville. You got to fly into Raleigh. At least that's what I was told. Give me a break, Biff. You know damn well you can take a charter flight from Charlotte to Greenville or from Charlotte to Kinston. He also said, all their fans wear purple and black. So apparently he doesn't know our colors are purple and gold.
Well, that right there, if you're ever going to get bulletin board material, that would be it for our Pirates. He doesn't even know what color you wear. It's kind of like when Fedora said he didn't remember the 70-41 game when the next time he came over to Greenville.
Well, he got reminded again.
He did.
Yeah, but people seem to pick out all the positive things he said. He was complimentary, but to me, he took some shots. And I know who Biff is. I remember preseason him pounding the podium and acting like a lunatic. And he walks around shirtless or sleeveless on the sidelines with his armpits hanging out on national TV. And so he ain't. Some folks may be impressed by his I don't know, his uniqueness, but he don't do nothing for me. I do think his background, in business before he got into coaching is kind of interesting, but besides that, he don't do nothing for me. And I hope we beat their brains in. But I'll take a 1-point win, and I'll take a 1-point win and go home happy. I mean, it is what it is at this point.
Yeah, we got a couple of comments up here.
Is it from your dogs?
Yeah, no, they when you mentioned Biff's name, they got upset for some reason.
I got you. Well, I can understand it. He looks like a pork chop.
Yeah. Johnny Robertson made a comment. 2 areas that he was hoping for improvement is pass blocking and pressuring the opposing quarterback. The fact that the pass coverage has been so good without any real pass rush is amazing, which is a good point.
Yeah, and I don't understand because while we haven't got more pressure on the quarterback than we have, and at times we have, but we have trouble getting him on the ground. That's something we need to get better at. We play a very similar defense to Navy. Navy gets a lot of pressure on the quarterback. They did against Charlotte last week, so hopefully we can too. As far as the blocking it up in the passing game, we got to get better all around the line. Not only pass blocking
and pass blocking.
That's something we need to address immediately. Now, Charlotte's D line's pretty good, so it's gonna be an interesting game, man. This is one that I don't know. Part of me has a good feeling. Part of me is worried. Part of me thinks we're gonna win a close one. Part of me, it's gonna be very interesting.
Yeah, and then we got Brandon. He's watching on YouTube. He said he had 2 comments. He said, "I say play Jeter and forget about Garcia and Flynn. And then if we lose this one, we are going 1-11. I don't see us beating UTSA, Tulane, Florida Atlantic, Navy, or Tulsa."
Well, I
don't you think though if we lose this game to Charlotte, like you said, it changed the whole narrative. But don't you think it kind of the confidence that we may have will go right out if we lose to Charlotte?
Well, I think if we lose to Charlotte, I think we would lose confidence, and I think then the fan base is really going to start to turn on Houston. It's already starting to happen a little bit, and I think it would get horrible. And I don't want that. I want to win this game. I'm not advocating any of that. I want to win this game and not worry about any of that crap. In terms of what was his other comment about besides going 1-11?
Playing Jeter and forgetting about Garcia.
Yeah, no, not against Charlotte. You don't want a young quarterback to come out and be against a good defense. The last thing you want to do is have a turnover machine.
Right.
I really believe that's what this game's going to come down to is turnovers. So to me, whoever doesn't turn the ball over is going to win this game.
I would, after the SMU game, which I'll go ahead and say, defensive backs impressed me. Just like Johnny was talking about, the pass coverage has been really good here lately. Because going into that game, that was one of my main concerns, is that quarterback, he was going to light us up. And our defensive backs did a great job there. Not a great job, but they did their job.
After the first quarter, I really think they did a tremendous.
Yeah, they settled down.
Yeah.
I mean, and then and your comment that you made on Facebook after the game was so on point. It was the Marshall game all over again, except this time, instead of a halfback option pass that put it away,
pick six.
The pick six put it away. That one play, and it just went all downhill after that.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. I don't. That's why I say I wouldn't. I believe, yes, you probably need to play Jeter soon, and maybe there's an opportunity in this game, and that's why I'm not 100% convinced we won't see Flynn this week. I know, a lot of people seem to think Garcia is going to be getting the start this week and play the whole game. This is a game we got to win, and Flynn has turned the ball over more than Garcia, actually, because he's not. But Garcia plays too close to the vest sometimes.
Well, Flynn is taking shots down the field too.
Exactly.
That you're more apt to.
And again, that's why I go back to we might see Flynn play, because that's what Charlotte is susceptible to, is giving up big plays in the passing game.
Well, I mean, I was just watching the game the other night when they took Garcia out, put Flynn in. I was like, you got to get, the guy wasn't doing bad.
No.
Garcia played probably his best game of the year against SMU. But leave the guy in there to get a rhythm. I mean, I know what you're trying to do, but right know we got to find an identity somewhere, and going back and forth between them. I know the purpose of it, but I never really liked that as a coach.
No, I think there are times it works, but it hasn't worked so far this year. But Garcia's got to be able. He can't be afraid to take a shot downfield, particularly in this game.
No, he can't.
And if he is, then I think you got to put him back on the bench. But I think you got to tell him, look, if you throw a pick, you throw a pick. We got to take shots. So I mean, it's not the end of the world. Nobody, everybody throws an interception. I'm not. Look, I don't want him to go out there and throw a bunch of picks, but I'd rather him take some chances than sit there and just play scared.
Same here.
So the reason, again, everybody tunes in each and every week, Stevie, is not for our guest. It's not for us to preview the upcoming game. It is for our top five. Oh, yeah. And undoubtedly. And this one, I was thinking of, you kind of run out of ideas for top five, particularly in direct relation to ECU football. So I came up with this one. Top 5 favorite wins during a losing season. Top 5 favorite wins during a losing season. So these are going to be standout wins during bad seasons in East Carolina history. And I'm going to start out at number 5. I have hold on, I want to make sure I'm not looking at my honorable mentions. Okay, at number 5, and I struggled. I almost put this one higher because I do love this game so much, and I maybe should have put it higher. But 1997, Wake Forest comes into Dowdy-Ficklen Stadium, first home game of the year. Second time an ACC school had visited. The other time was also Wake Forest. First time the modern era an ACC school came in there. We get down early. You get down early, 21-7. Come back and win the game. So at my number 5, I got Wake Forest from 97.
Okay. So my number 5 goes back a little. I'm a little bit older than Kyle. Right, yeah. Well, by the way, we both had birthdays last week.
Yeah, we sure did. Happy birthday,
Kyle's happy birthday to you. Kyle's a little bit younger than me, but I had the big.
What day was your birthday, Stevie? I missed it on Facebook.
Monday.
Monday
16th.
Monday last. I'll say it was this week. Okay.
Yeah, 16th.
Well, you called me on my birthday, and I'm sorry, I totally missed your
Yeah,
birthday.
I know, y'all. I know how much Kyle thinks of me now. So
I
yeah.
didn't realize it was your birthday. I remember you
just
saying
joking.
it last week now, but I do apologize. Happy birthday. Happy belated birthday.
Yeah, but I'm going a little bit further back than Kyle does with my Pirate fanhood. 1987 opening game. Art Baker. They go 5-6 that year, and everybody remembers this game, of course. But the NC State 32-14 over in Raleigh, of course, that everybody knows what happened after that game, the riot. And we didn't play State for a while, but yeah, you had Travis Hunter and Charlie Libretto at quarterback. You had some guys with that. Walter Wilson at wide receiver, Ellis Dillahunt and Junior Robinson, defensive back, some NFL experienced guys there. But yeah, Bubba Waters. Come on. But yeah, I just remember listening to that game on the radio, and then my cousin was actually one of the managers that year, and was on the sidelines that night. And yeah, he could tell you some stories there.
Yeah, that's a good one. I would have definitely had it on my list if I was 7 years old when that game was played. But so yeah, it didn't make my list, but it definitely would have had I been a Pirate fan in 1987. My number 4, I got a tie from the same.
Here we go, the ties. Yeah,
I did this a couple times. My number 4, I got a tie from the same season, back-to-back weeks. So these games go together in my head. The 05 season, we finished 5-6. Ended up with back-to-back wins, a comeback win in Huntington against Marshall, and then we followed it up with UAB. I remember UAB came in here playing for bowl eligibility. Their quarterback, who's I can't think of his name now, he's a good quarterback, guaranteed that they were going to beat us, and the Pirates won. So I got a tie from the 05 season, Marshall and UAB back-to-back weeks for my number 4 favorite win and during the losing season.
So we mentioned this a little bit earlier. 2018, Carolina comes to town again, and all week Larry Fedora's like, they're talking about the last time you came to Greenville, and Larry Fedora's like, I don't remember that game. Yeah, but he got reminded real quick, and the Scotty Montgomery era, but we get the big win, 41-18, in a game that I don't think anybody. I think it was like, if we beat them, it's going to be a close game. But to blow them out 41-18 was the icing on the cake. But that's my number 4, is the 41-18 in 2018.
My number 3 is from the Scotty Montgomery era. His very first game at East Carolina in 2016. We didn't know what we were getting into, but it started off well. The Pirates beat the Wolfpack in Greenville. Great back and forth game. That is actually an excellent football game. If you just want to go back and watch a really good ECU game, that was a back and forth football game all game. So my number 3 is 2016. The Pirates beat the Wolfpack in Dowdy Ficklen.
All right. So my number 3 is from 2010. And I think you'll know which one I'm talking about.
Oh, I didn't consider 2010 a losing season. Yeah, but I don't think of it as a losing season, as a bowl, because we went to a bowl. Man, okay, I would have put the Tulsa game in there too, and the NC State game. I would have had that NC State game number 1. I just didn't consider it a losing season, but you're right. Technically, it was.
Technically it was, but if you want to. All right. So anyway,
go ahead.
I'm going with that. Watching that game on a Sunday, the opening game.
So you got the Tulsa game, not the State game. Okay.
Yeah, this is my number 3.
Okay.
But yeah, to sit there and watch the Hail Mary at the end, and you're like, because I'm sitting there like, God, there's no way this is going to happen. And then it happened, and the Pirates, Justin Jones with a 33-yard reception from Dominic Davis, and the Pirates win 51-49. And what a way to start out that year. Unfortunately, it wasn't the best year they had, but a great start. And that was kind of weird. We talked about this before. Kind of weird playing on a Sunday afternoon there too.
Yeah, ESPN was experimenting with some Sunday college football at that time, but yeah, that's also one would have made my list.
27 points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, it was a crazy game. It would have made my list, but I don't think of it as a losing season because we went to a bowl.
Right.
But after the bowl game, it was a losing season. My number 2, you mentioned it already, so I won't dissect it too much. 2018, North Carolina. You lose to North Carolina A&T the week before. You got the Tar Heels coming to town. I think they had like 12 players suspended because of something.
Yeah, was it shoes?
Yes, something like that. Yeah, and you thought maybe there was a chance for an upset, but you looked so bad against A&T. Holton Ayler's debut, he played great, coming in off the bench. So my number 2 is that win over North Carolina in 18.
All right, 2015. I think it was 2015. Maybe it was 20. No, let me.
Virginia Tech.
2015.
Yeah.
James Summers coming out party. Virginia Tech in the rain. Big win for the Pirates because we're pretty much Shane Carden's gone. Justin Hardy's gone. You got a lot of turnover, and now you're looking for that quarterback. Well, James Summers comes out and just puts it on Virginia Tech. Like I said, in the rain, 35-28 win for the Pirates that day.
Yeah, I got a tie for number 1. And one of them is that Virginia Tech game, 2015. Virginia Tech, obviously, I was there, monsoon. It wasn't just in the rain.
Yes.
It was a friggin' monsoon. So much fun. 35-28. What a great atmosphere. Oh, God, that place was electric that day. That's everything Daddy Fickle Stadium's supposed to be. So, yeah, that 2015. And then my other, I'm going to do a 3-way tie for number 1 now since we're considered 2010 a losing season. The NC State game from 2010 with the interception in the end zone by Damon Magazoo to seal the victory. The Pirates beat the Wolfpack. And my 3rd-way tie for number 1 is 05, Skip Holt's very first game against the Duke Blue Devils. Actually, one of my favorite games in ECU history just because of what that game symbolized. It was just the return of Pirate football. And so Duke 05 would be my 3rd number 1 win during the losing season. Yeah.
Number 1 C, number 1 D.
Yeah, basically
worse than I ever have been, but geez. But my number 1, you just talked about it, the NC State overtime game with the interception in end zone. I forgot what that quarterback's name was. What was his name?
Russell Brand.
Russell Brand. Hello.
Russell Jeans. I don't know.
Russell Wilson. Yeah, that's who it was. Yeah, he's kind of having a hard time now in it too. So, but yeah, that one was definitely my number 1 in a losing season. Now, as far as my honorable mentions,
I got those too.
Oh God. Let me see. What do I have here? The Marshall game from 2005, the Wake game from 97, and then at 1985, a lot of people don't talk about that one, beating NC State 33-14 at their place then.
Yeah, we've beaten NC State quite a few times during losing seasons. My honorable mentions, TCU. They were ranked in the top 25. Pirates upset them in Dowdy Ficklin in 02. Also in 02, 20-point comeback against Houston. Beat them in triple overtime down. That's when a lot of people don't remember. That game's actually on YouTube, the entire game. So if you have never watched the 02 Houston, so if you never watched it or if you want to go back and watch it, the 02 Houston game, triple overtime win down in Houston, 20-point comeback. And then my other honorable mention is 2011. We go up to Annapolis, Maryland, and beat Navy as they miss a last-second field goal for the Pirates to hold on to win one of only 2 victories against Navy, and that was after they had embarrassed us the previous year in Dowdy Ficklin.
Yeah, I'm looking to see if I can find the Houston game now.
Yes, on there. Yeah, I'll send you. Go to the Sports Objectives Facebook YouTube page, Stevie, and we have a playlist for all our listeners out there where we have compiled all the games. So, for all our listeners out there, if you want to watch any ECU football, if it's on YouTube and it's a complete game, we should have it in our playlist. If you find something we do not have in our playlist, please let us know so we can add it to our playlist.
Yeah, you sent me that, and I watched the Carolina. I started watching the Carolina when we beat them 70-41, but they've taken that down since then.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
well,
they've taken the Carolina one from that year down.
Yeah, I wonder who had something to do with that. Huh?
I wonder.
Yeah.
But
Well, we got to get that back up there. Somebody, mine got deleted off the DVR. I should have.
Mine too.
I should have burned it to DVD. So that's really irritating, actually, particularly now that it's off YouTube. I'm gonna have to hit somebody up. Somebody hit me up because I want a DVD copy of that game now, since it's off my hard drive, no longer on YouTube. So if anybody has that game recorded, and I'm sure somebody does, hit me up, and I'll gladly pay you for a DVD copy.
all right.
Steve, you got anything else?
No, my dogs seem to be very active tonight. I don't know what the deal is.
Well,
Robert Matthews, he's got a Robert follows us a lot. Kyle from LaGrange, the fifth quarter legend.
Robert, I appreciate it, man. I don't know about legend, but I do appreciate the.
I wish there was a way we could make a compilation of Kyle's greatest hits on the fifth quarter.
Well, get with Clip. Maybe him and Shirley can put it together. And from Cecil, are you listening to? He fire him tonight to my infamous call where Troy didn't believe it was me after he found out it was me. Where I did my Jeff Confer impersonation, where him and Shelley were hanging out in Jeff's bedroom watching the Orange Bowl, the Northern Illinois Orange Bowl. People don't realize. People remember that call. I don't know how many people know that was me, but that was me. And so I've done quite a few things up there.
Yeah, Brandon has got another comment. With SMU leaving the conference, is the American looking at another team to replace them?
Yes, yeah, Army. We're talking to Army. I think it's going to happen. We're trying to get some things scheduled, or Army has to get some schedule things straightened out, and I think they're trying to figure out what to do with that Army-Navy game. The conference wants to make it a league game. Army really wants it to stay non-conference because they want it to. It's very important to Army apparently to keep that game the last regular season college football game post-conference championship. I think my solution would be you could do something simple, play it Thanksgiving weekend every year and make it a league game. Or what I say is do the opposite to keep it special. Play it, make it the Daytona 500. Make it the first game of the college football season. Play it every year on week 0. America, you got the America's game in the American Conference to start the college football season. It would be great for the conference, and it would be that Army-Navy game. I think would get more eyeballs during week 0 when everybody's hungry for college football than it does the week it's played.
And see, we talked about that the first, one of the first episodes was week 0. They need to have a matchup there because the matchups this year there was one that was decent.
I watched them all. It didn't matter to me.
Have something up there.
A marquee matchup.
Yeah, it's kind of like the NFL does with the Thursday night opening game.
Yeah.
You have the Super Bowl champions versus, usually it's an up and coming team, but maybe have the defending national champion play somebody that opening weekend.
Yeah,
I don't know, but I don't care. Have a marquee matchup that week 0.
I think it would be a good solution to the Army-Navy problem. If Army's going to join the league, having that game as a non-conference game to me sounds so bush league.
Yeah.
To me that's one of the appeals is having Army. Is you get the Army-Navy game is now a conference game. So. I think they'd be missing the boat if Army joins the league and we don't figure out a way to make that a conference game. So.
Yep.
All right, Stevie. Well, we'll see what happens this Saturday. I got my fingers crossed.
Yeah, me too.
And hopefully we come away with the victory. I'm going to be very unhappy. This will not be a a loss I will take lightly. So
keep it just in case, guys. Hopefully we don't lose, but remember the fifth quarter. You might want to listen to the fifth quarter if the Pirates don't come out on top. You might
hell,
hear
have your bail money ready. I'm telling you. Speaking of, not just the fifth quarter. Don't forget. Hopefully, we'll be talking about a Vic on
Yeah,
the Pirate
hopefully.
playback
So.
Sunday night. And not a loss. So we might not be able to do the Pirate playback Sunday night if we lose him. I'll be so disgusted.
Oh wow.
But all right, Stevie. Unless you got something else.
No, I'm good. But my football season is over. So we finished our season last Friday night. Unfortunately,
Yeah,
not qualifying for the playoffs. So get ready to see. You know, I'll make the old coach statement. You know, I've just got to sit back and take a breather and just see it. Like I think Joe Gibbs and all them guys said stuff like that, and just see how I feel once football season's around the corner before I make a decision.
Oh, you'll be ready.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe get a few more games scheduled next year.
Tell me about it, bud. Tell
Yeah.
me about it. Robert made another comment. Biff is going to Sup Dogs. Maybe we can kidnap him and make him our coach.
I don't want him, Robert. I don't want him. I don't want a grown man on the sidelines in a tank top and shorts. I don't know how many people. I don't know if people haven't watched this man with his armpits hanging out on the sidelines.
Yes.
So yeah, no, I don't want him. Oh, I'd rather
maybe
have
I need to
else.
wear that on the sideline next year. What do you think, Robert?
Go for it, Matt. Go for it. I'm not a Biff fan. I know some of our fans have gotten caught up in it, but he ain't for me. Mike Houston ain't perfect, but I'll take him over Biff any day.
Yeah, same here, bud. Same here.
All right, so for Andrew Bays, about to forget him, Bubba Rosenbaum producing, and my co-host Stevie Fly, I am Kyle Barber. Hey, and they're and L&K Custom Homes, KK Walker. Don't forget to give them a call, 336-608-8461. Get yourself a house built. So there you go.
That's somebody we need to have on here.
We'll get KK on. He's obviously a friend of the show, so we'll do that. All right, Stevie. So again, for Bubba, Andrew, and Stevie Fly, I am Kyle from LaGrange Barber. You have been watching and listening to Just Another Sports Podcast here on the Sports Objective Podcasting Network. Good night, everybody, and go Pirates.
See ya.